only late in life, when I am worn out with my wanderings. Avoid, I cry, whatever is approved of by the mob, and things that are the gift of chance. Whenever circumstance brings some welcome thing your way, stop in suspicion and alarm. Wild animals and fish alike are taken in by this or that inviting prospect. Do you look on them as presents given you by fortune? They are snares. Anyone among you who wishes to lead a secure life will do his very best to steer well wide of these baited bounties, which comprise yet another instance of the errors we miserable creatures fall into. We think these things are ours, when in fact it is we who are caught. That track leads to precipices. Life on that giddy level ends in a fall. Once, moreover, prosperity begins to carry us off course, we are no more capable even of bringing the ship to a standstill than of going down, with the consolation that she has been held on her course, or of going down once and for all. Fortune does not just capsize the boat, she hurls it headlong on the rocks and dashes it to pieces. Cling, therefore, to this sound and wholesome plan of life. Indulge the body just so far as suffices for good health. It needs to be treated somewhat strictly to prevent it from being disobedient to the spirit. Your food should appease your hunger, your drink quench your thirst, your clothing keep out the cold, your house be a protection against inclement weather. It makes no difference whether it is built of turf or of variegated marble, imported from another country. What you have to understand is that thatch makes a person just as good a roof as gold does. Spurn everything that is added on by way of decoration, and display unnecessary labor. Reflect that nothing merits admiration except the spirit, the impressiveness of which prevents it from being impressed by anything. If these are the things I'm saying to myself, if these are the things I'm saying to future generations, don't you think I'm doing more good than when I go into court to enter into a recognizance on someone's behalf, or stamp my seal on a will, or lend my assistance by word or action in the Senate to some candidate for office? Those who appear inactive are, believe me, engaged in far more important activity. They're dealing with matters divine and human at the same moment. But the time has come to make an end, and, in accordance with the practice, I've started to make some disbursement on this letter's behalf. For this, I shall not draw on my own resources. I'm still turning over the pages of Epicurus, and the following saying, one I read today, comes from him. To win true freedom, you must be a slave to philosophy. A person who surrenders and subjects himself to her doesn't have his application deferred from day to day. He's emancipated on the spot, the very service of philosophy being freedom. Quite possibly you'll be demanding to know why I'm quoting so many fine sayings from Epicurus, rather than ones belonging to our own school. But why should you think of them as belonging to Epicurus, and not as common property? Think how many poets say things that philosophers have said, or ought to have said. Not to mention the tragedians, or our native Roman drama, which has a serious element in it as well, and stands halfway between comedy and tragedy. Think of the quantity of brilliant lines to be found lying about in farces alone. Think of the number of Publilius's verses that really ought to be spoken by actors wearing the tragic buskins instead of barefooted pantomime actors. I'll quote one verse of his which belongs to philosophy, and the same facet of philosophy that I was occupied with just now, a verse in which he proclaims that gifts which chance brings our way are not to be regarded as possessions. If you pray, a thing may, and it does come your way, 'tis a long way from being your own. I recall your expressing the same idea a good deal more happily and succinctly. What fortune has made yours is not your own. And I can't pass over that even happier expression of yours, the boon that could be given can be withdrawn. This being from your own stock, I am not debiting it to your account. Letter number 9. You desire to know whether Epicurus is right in one of his letters, in criticizing those who maintain that the wise man is content with himself and therefore needs no friend. This is what Epicurus objects to in Stilbo, and those who believe that the supreme ideal in life is a mind devoid of feeling, or, as we say, impatiens. We are bound to involve ourselves in ambiguity if we try to express in a single word the meaning of the Greek term apatheia by transferring it straight into our word impatientia. For it may be understood in the opposite sense to the one we wish, with people taking it to signify the man who is unable to endure anything that goes badly for him, instead of what we mean by it, the man who refuses to allow anything that goes badly for him to affect him. Consider, then, whether it might not be preferable to call it a mind that is invulnerable or above all suffering. The difference here between the Epicurean and our own school is this. Our wise man feels his troubles but overcomes them, while their wise man does not even feel them. We share with them the belief that the wise man is content with himself. Nevertheless, self-sufficient though he is, he still desires a friend, a neighbor, a companion. Notice how self-contented he is. On occasion, such a man is content with a mere partial self. If he loses a hand as a result of war or disease, or has one of his eyes, or even both, put out in an accident, he will be satisfied with what remains of himself, and be no less pleased with his body, now that it is maimed and incomplete, than he was when it was whole. But while he does not hanker after what he has lost, he does prefer not to lose them. And this is what we mean when we say the wise man is self-content. He is so in the sense that he is able to do without friends, not that he desires to do without them. When I speak of his being able to do this, what I am saying in fact amounts to this. He bears the loss of a friend with equanimity. Not that he will then be without a friend, for it is his to decide how soon he makes good the loss. Just as Phidias can carve another statue straight away if he loses one, so our wise man, with his skill in the art of making friends, will fill the place of someone he has lost. I suppose you will want to know how he will be able to make a friend so quickly. Well, I shall tell you. Provided we agree that I may make this the moment to pay my debt and square my account so far as this letter is concerned. I shall show you, says Hecato, a love philter compounded without drug or herb, or witch's spell. It is this. If you wish to be loved, love. Great pleasure is to be found not only in keeping up an old and established friendship, but also in beginning and building up a new one. There is the same difference between having gained a friend and actually gaining a friend as there is between a farmer harvesting and a farmer sowing. The philosopher Attalus used to say that it was more of a pleasure to make a friend than to have one. In the same way as an artist derives more pleasure from painting than from having completed a picture. When his whole attention is absorbed in concentration on the work he is engaged on, a tremendous sense of satisfaction is created in him by his very absorption. There is never quite the same gratification after he has lifted his hand from the finished work. From then on, what he is enjoying is the art's end product, whereas it was the art itself that he enjoyed while he was actually painting. So with our children. Their growing up brings wider fruits, but their infancy was sweeter. To come back to the question, the wise man, self-sufficient as he is, still desires to have a friend, if only for the purpose of practicing friendship and ensuring that those talents are not idle. Not, as Epicurus put it in the same letter, for the purpose of having someone to come and sit beside his bed when he is ill, or come to his rescue when he is hard up or thrown into chains, but so that, on the contrary, he may have someone by whose sickbed he himself may sit, or whom he may himself release when that person is held prisoner by hostile hands. Anyone thinking of his own interests and seeking out friendship with this in view is making a great mistake. Things will end as they began.